Have you ever had one of those days where you feel like you've been run over by a truck, then backed over just for good measure? That was me, waking up with my face pressed into wet sand, a headache that could rival a death metal concert, and the salty taste of the ocean trying to evict my soul from my body. The last thing I remembered was the storm, a monstrous swirling vortex of fury that had turned my solo sailing trip into a personal reenactment of The Perfect Storm, minus George Clooney, sadly. My boat, the Serendipity, was likely now serving as a very expensive artificial reef at the bottom of the Pacific. I pushed myself up, my muscles screaming in protest. Before me lay a postcard-perfect beach, white sand stretching into the distance, bordered by a jungle so lush and green it almost looked fake. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly deserted. Or so I thought. As I staggered towards the tree line, hoping to find fresh water, a rustle in the undergrowth stopped me dead. I froze, my heart hammering against my ribs. Wild boar? Some undiscovered predator? My survival training kicked in. Stay quiet, be bigger, don't look like food. Then she stepped out, and my brain just stopped. She was tall, graceful, with eyes the color of emeralds that seemed to glow with an inner light. Her hair was a wild mane of dark auburn, and what truly made my jaw drop were the delicate pointed ears peeking through it, twitching slightly as she assessed me. A pair of long, sleek cat ears, and behind her a tail, the same rich auburn color, swished lazily back and forth. She wasn't alone. More figures emerged from the jungle, all women, all possessing the same striking feline features. They moved with a predatory grace that was both mesmerizing and intimidating. One of them, clearly the leader with an air of ancient authority and silver streaks in her hair, stepped forward. Her voice, when she spoke, was a low melodic purr that sent shivers down my spine. "You are male," she stated, not as a question but as a pronouncement of a miracle. The others murmured amongst themselves, their wide, curious eyes fixed on me. I felt less like a shipwreck survivor and more like a museum exhibit. Yeah. Last I checked, I managed to croak, my own voice sounding rough and alien. The leader, whose name I learned was Kalen, explained their predicament. This island, which they called Aluros, was their entire world. For generations, their people, the Feline, had thrived here. But a strange affliction had befallen them decades ago. No male children were being born. Not a single one. Their population was dwindling, their future fading with each passing elder. They were a people on the brink of extinction. A vibrant culture slowly, silently disappearing from the world. My shipwreck wasn't a tragedy to them. It was a sign. A desperate last-ditch hope delivered by the sea. Kalen looked at me, her emerald eyes filled with a heavy pleading weight. "You are our only chance," she said, her voice trembling with the burden of her people's survival. "We ask you, we beg you, help us save our people from the silence." I looked around at the faces surrounding me. Young, old, hopeful, frightened. They weren't just strange cat women on a lost island. They were mothers, daughters, sisters, a nation of people staring into the abyss. They weren't asking me to be a hero. They were asking me to be a husband, a partner, a father. To all of them. It was a staggering, overwhelming proposition. My simple life as a software engineer who liked to sail on weekends had just been thrown into a cosmic blender. Me? Save an entire species. The responsibility was terrifying. How could I possibly be the answer to a problem of this magnitude? I was just a guy. A very lost, very confused guy. The following days were an immersion into their culture. They showed me their home, a village built high in the canopy of giant ancient trees connected by intricate rope bridges. It was like something out of a fantasy novel. They were warriors, hunters, artisans. I watched them hunt with silent, deadly precision, their movements a blur of controlled power. They wove tapestries that told the stories of their ancestors, their fingers flying with practiced skill. Their society was complex, built on respect, community, and a deep connection to the natural world. They taught me their language, their history, their traditions. They shared their food, strange and delicious fruits and expertly roasted game. In turn, I tried to explain my world. I drew pictures of skyscrapers, cars, and airplanes in the sand. They listened with rapt attention, their tails twitching in fascination, calling my tales stories of the metal world. They were particularly baffled by the concept of a job, where you sit in a box and stare at a smaller, glowing box all day. Frankly, when they put it like that, I was a little baffled by it too. Despite the strangeness of it all, I found myself feeling at home. There was a sincerity and a warmth to the Feline that I'd rarely encountered. I saw the fear in their eyes, yes, but I also saw incredible strength and a fierce will to live. I played with the young ones who chased my wiggling fingers with the same playful pounce as kittens, their giggles echoing through the trees. I sat with the elders who shared stories of a time when their island was filled with the laughter of both boys and girls. The weight of their request never left me. Every smile, every shared meal, every story was a reminder of what was at stake. This wasn't some abstract concept. It was the potential end of everything and everyone I was coming to know, and dare I say, care for. One evening, sitting by a crackling fire under a blanket of unfamiliar stars, Kaylin sat beside me. She didn't speak of their plea, but instead just watched the flames dance. "We do not ask this of you lightly," she said softly, her gaze distant. "We know we are asking for your entire life, to abandon your world for ours. It is an unfair burden." I looked at her, at the lines of worry etched around her beautiful eyes. I thought of my old life. The traffic, the deadlines, the feeling of being a small cog in a giant impersonal machine. What was I really giving up? And what was I gaining? A purpose. A chance to make a real tangible difference. A chance to be part of something bigger than myself. "It is a burden," I admitted, my voice quiet. "But seeing all of this, seeing all of you, maybe it's a burden worth carrying." A small hopeful smile touched her lips, the first genuine one I'd seen from her. It was in that moment that I made my decision. I was no hero. I was just a shipwrecked man. But sometimes being in the right place at the wrong time, or maybe the wrong place at the right time, is all it takes. The next day I stood before the village council. I took a deep breath, the scent of tropical flowers and damp earth filling my lungs. "I will stay," I announced. "I will help in any way I can." A wave of relief washed over the assembly, a collective sigh that seemed to lift the very air. Cheers and joyous cries erupted through the canopy village. They didn't see me as a savior or a king. They saw me as family, as hope. And so my new life began. A life I could never have imagined. A life on an island of feline women, with the future of their entire civilization resting in part on my shoulders. It was a daunting, terrifying, and strangely wonderful prospect. My boat may have been wrecked, but maybe in a way, I wasn't shipwrecked at all. Maybe I was finally found. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. What would you have done in my shoes? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more adventures, and ring that notification bell. It really helps the channel out, and I can't wait to share the next chapter with you all. Until next time.